Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner Since 96, and you are watching an extended version of our post-match reaction. I'm going to be talking about Mikel Arteta'S press conference, post-match press conference, in which he made some points about the game. Interestingly enough, he spoke about individual players as well. That's because questions were asked about those players. And so, yeah, we're going to delve a little bit into that. Before I start the video, if I can just ask all of you to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. That would be absolutely incredible. Thank you very much for all of the support that I've been getting throughout the last month, ever since we started. But it hasn't all been plain sailing, as we saw yesterday when Arsenal lost at St Mary's 1-0 against a very, very good Southampton side, and a very, very strong Southampton side, I have to say. Outplayed all across the pitch up until the 55th minute, when we decided that we wanted to play, and that was not until Saka and Partey came on who changed the game. And yeah, I've released a podcast episode on the game yesterday you'll find that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any other major podcast streaming site. And the podcast is called The Arsenal Therapy Podcast. It's episode 11. You'll find that there. And in that episode, I go in depth into the game, talk about all of the ins and outs, how I felt about the actual match itself and repercussions and all that kind of stuff. But today, like I said, we're going to be talking about Arteta. We're going to be talking about how he interpreted the game. I'm going to make some comments on that as well. There's a couple of things that I took out of that press conference. The first one being his instant reaction on the cup exit. Obviously, he was very, very disappointed. He said that he's very disappointed with the cup exit, as we wanted to continue with the competition. We had a dream to do it again, and that dream today is over. I'm disappointed with the goal. At the same time, I cannot fault the effort of the players, but it wasn't enough. It's difficult for me to listen to those words, especially the end. It didn't seem as if he wanted to go for the cup, because for starters, the team selection wasn't a team that was capable of progressing and beating a Premier League side. Forget it being Southampton. The fact that we set out to play in another Premier League side in the FA Cup with that kind of team, it didn't show me that his intent was to go out and win the FA Cup. It showed me that he wanted to give the players that weren't playing an opportunity to play, so that on Tuesday we can play our strongest side and get the 3 points. So I don't buy what he's saying there. I mean, I totally understand that he would have wanted to go for a longer run, maybe. And look, it could have worked if Southampton hadn't played their stronger side, and if they had played the side which was a little bit similar to ours. Maybe we might have nicked something. We definitely would have been in the game longer. But look, it wasn't enough. He was right. The goal itself that we conceded was sloppy, was really poor in terms of the defending side of things. You never let a player with that much time and space from that sort of area to shoot, especially it being a right back. Yes, I think he was there, right? Yeah, Walker Peters. So look, thoroughly deserved to lose that game. And I think it's time to move on. I think he knows that as well. And moving on from the press conference, onto the next question, I should say. He was asked about Aubameyang, whether he was going to be able to play on Tuesday or not. He said that, I don't know. We need to see the situation and how it evolves. At the minute, I'm not sure what's going on with Aubameyang. We heard during the game, the commentator made a comment about someone in his family being tested positive, and then that not coming out to be entirely true. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sure we will be able to find out sooner or later what's going on with Aubameyang. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he is available to play on Tuesday. If he's not, it's not the end of the world, because we have players that can play in that position. But you don't want to see your captain be out for too long. Regardless, I hope he's okay. I hope his family's okay. That's the most important thing for me. He was asked a few questions on Odegaard. He made some interesting comments about Odegaard, saying that he's not sure when he'll be joining. He'll be making some phone calls to see where we are at. He refused to make any comments about Odegaard being integrated in the team, how he'd play, whether it would have repercussions or negative consequences on Emil Smith Rowe. I think the Odegaard situation is going to be resolved and wrapped up very, very soon. I think we'll get an announcement in the next 24 hours. I really, really hope. The kind of gossip and the reporting that we're hearing is that Arsenal and Real Madrid have come to an agreement. We're going to pay a £2 million loan fee, and he'll be on a contract of 38 or 48 grand a week. So look, really, really good business, especially when you consider that Papa Socrates left early, cut his contract with us, which meant that we were able to save about 2.5 mil. So that money there is going towards this signing, this loan deal, and which is going to be an incredible loan deal because it's exactly what we have missed. It's exactly what we missed last night. Someone in the centre that was making things happen, someone who had good connection with everyone around him, someone who could potentially play football in a different style rather than the way that Willian did. We don't even need to comment on the way that he played yesterday. I think it was absolutely awful. But yeah, it seems as if Odegaard is coming. He'll be here in the next 24 hours. I really, really hope so. There were plenty of questions asked from the fan base, not just the reporter yesterday, about the squad, the starting lineup. Why had he selected the squad that he did, and if he had started a stronger lineup, for example, have Partey in there, Saka in there, and Lacazette in there from the beginning, would we have had a better chance? He goes on to say, we had a strong lineup because I had belief in my players. They have done it against top opposition. This cannot be an excuse. We had a better second half with more quality, but the players who played deserve to play. With more qualities. But the players who played deserved to play and tried hard. Okay, so split up that sentence. Again, look, I don't quite understand where Arteta's going with this idea that the players did everything that they could. They didn't do everything that they could, because that first half was woeful. You don't expect to see a Premier League team play against another top opposition like that. And look, Southampton are a top Premier League side. If you look at the opponents in the FA Cup, the ones that are remaining, if you look at the English League, any Premier League team right now is a top opposition for us. And especially in the last few years where teams have actually gotten better. So we can't say that we weren't playing against the side who were going to challenge us and who are going to be a threat in this game. So I don't understand why Arteta thinks that we had a good game. The players put in all their effort, everything into it. They didn't. There were mistakes everywhere. There were players that were playing in second gear. Nobody was taking initiative to try and drive forward. We were being pressed against the ball. We sat back. We allowed the pressure. We invited it on. And I mean, look, we thoroughly deserved to lose that game. And you can't say, looking at that performance, that it was a good performance. I'm a little bit disappointed that Arteta didn't express his disappointment. I would have said it wasn't a good enough performance. We didn't do enough, and Southampton were the thoroughly deserved winners. Instead, it seemed as if that we had done all that we could, and unfortunately, Southampton got the better of us. That wasn't the case. I personally believe, like I said, I'll repeat it again, he didn't play his strongest lineup because he was saving that for the Premier League. I think it's important that we focus on the Premier League and the Europa League. At the end of the day, our objective is to get Champions League football. We are not going to do that via the FA Cup, and we don't have the squad depth to get into the to compete in free tournaments, in free competitions. So look, smart move made by Arteta, the best move that he could have made, because if you're going to play the likes of Lacazette, Partey and Saka in this game, then they're not going to play on Tuesday, and if they don't play on Tuesday, then we can't really afford to lose points, to drop points right now. Aston Villa won yesterday, which means they leapfrogged above us. We're now 11th in the league. There are teams around us dropping points left, right, centre. We need to really take advantage of that. And that brings me back to why I was so annoyed when we lost to to Crystal Palace. There was no need for us to drop points against Crystal Palace. We should have won that game. Should have done better. And if we had done, we'd be in a better position right now. And we would be talking about the possibilities of getting into a Champions League position or finishing, high above where we are at the minute. And so, look, the best thing to do right now is to focus on the league, is to continue the momentum, is to play your strongest side. And we've seen when Arsenal play their strongest side, they're capable to beating anyone. So that's that. That's on the starting lineup. Another question was asked about Willian and Pepe. Here comes the interesting question. Do Arsenal fans have the right to expect more from Willian and Pepe? And this really irritated me a little bit because he goes on to say they're entitled to ask anything. What I'm saying is that they tried their hardest. You could see the intent and willingness, and this is what we demand them to do. We're going to keep supporting them as much as possible. They need to keep working harder and trying to improve on their performances. I agree that we did see what they were trying to do, and we did see the intent of playing well. They tried to play well. They tried to do certain things to make things work. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Pepe had a better second half, but Willian, I need to really stress the importance of getting rid of someone like Willian as soon as possible. Mesut Ozil just announced that he's left. He sent a really heartfelt message to the fans. And look, good luck to him. But we've now got rid of a Mesut Ozil and got another one in the space of a year. And that is going to weigh down on us heavily. This is about a 30 mil investment that we've made. And if we're seeing performances like that, it's just not going to be good enough. And I can't have anybody right now defend Willian's capabilities of performing well, because I think it's done and dusted now. We've seen enough of it. The only the decent performance that we saw, and even then it was a little bit shaky, and I'm talking about the opportunity he had against Fulham. Should have put it back of the net. In fact, he bumbled it, and then Lacazette scored. But look, the only good performance that he had was the beginning of the season. I don't think there is a player in there. I think he's in his decline right now. I think the less confidence he has, the more he will continue to decline. With Pepe, it's difficult because you have a player there who unfortunately isn't good enough to start games, but he is a good squad player. You can rely on him to come on and still continue to pose a threat. If he is sold, then you need someone to come in so that they can be a squad player. And so, I think more than anything, Arteta's kind of forced into answering the way that he did. I think we have to be fair to the guy and say that he understands these players are low on confidence, and the last thing that you want to do is to criticize players that are already on low confidence. I just really hope that Arteta's learnt his lesson and he doesn't continue to persist with playing them in big games. But now that we're out of the FA Cup, it'll be interesting to see how the squad rotation, what kind of squad rotation we see, and where these players get the opportunity to play. And the most important question, in my opinion, was asked by a reporter who asked on the lack of squad depth. And that really was the summary of why we lost yesterday, because we don't have squad depth, because we don't have enough decent players to be challenging for things like the FA Cup. And yesterday was the biggest eye-opener because it showed us that there is still a massive job to be completed. Players that are playing who don't deserve to play for the club, they need to be moved on ASAP, and the longer that we keep them, the longer we will remain in this situation. And so Arteta goes on to say about the squad depth, I can't complain with the squad that I have. With the players that I have, I'm disappointed with the way we lost the game and conceded the goal. I think deep down he knows that he doesn't have the squad depth. He doesn't have the right players. Unfortunately, he's having to deal with a problem at the club that has been built up throughout the years. And Arteta said at the beginning of his at the beginning of his reign, where he highlighted that, look, this is a long-term project. And so, look, I have all the faith in the world in Arteta. I think he knows what he's doing. It's disappointing to have lost in the manner of which that we did. We should have lost more than 1-0. And, luckily they didn't embarrass us the way that they could have. Now, all eyes are on Tuesday, really. That's the biggest test, because we now come to the tough end of our run. The beginning bit was a little bit easier, starting with Chelsea, ending with, who did we play last? Newcastle. And now the big games really do start. They're coming in thick and fast. We've got Southampton in the league. We then got United. We've got Wolves. We've got Benfica. We've got Aston Villa. We've got Leicester. We've got Leeds. All of these teams coming in really, really quickly. February is going to be a very, very tough month. And so the sooner Odegaard gets here, the better. I think he will make a difference. I hope he does. Anything is better than Willian right now. And so on that note, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about Arteta's press conference, looking ahead to the game against Southampton in the Premier League. Until then, stay home, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.